Imagine logging onto Facebook and seeing strangers solving a murder before the police. Ordinary people, armed with nothing more than Wi-Fi, determination, and curiosity, tracked down a killer the world thought would never be caught. This is the story of how online sleuths transformed into detectives, exposed lies, and uncovered a trail of digital breadcrumbs that led to justice. It began with a small-town tragedy. A young woman vanished after a night out, her last Facebook check-in marked at a quiet bar. When her body was discovered days later, the town mourned, but detectives had little to go on. Rumors spread faster than evidence. Police urged patience, but the community felt helpless. That's when a group of Facebook users, friends, neighbors, and total strangers decided waiting wasn't an option. They opened their laptops, created private groups, and swore to dig until they uncovered the truth. What started as grief would soon become a digital manhunt. The Facebook group exploded overnight. Hundreds joined, sharing screenshots, timelines, and theories. Someone noticed the victim's final photo, posted only minutes before she disappeared, showed a man in the corner of the frame. His face was blurred, but his shoes were distinctive, bright red sneakers. Police hadn't mentioned him. To the group, it was their first lead. Members began combing through local profiles, searching for anyone who owned shoes like those. Every like, every tagged photo, became a potential breadcrumb. The group wasn't just talking anymore. They were investigating. One member, a night shift nurse, spent her breaks scrolling through old Facebook check-ins. She found a pattern. The same man appeared in posts from multiple bars around town, always lurking in the background. Others matched his name through mutual friends. By morning, they had a profile, public, careless, filled with late-night selfies and cryptic status updates. He seemed ordinary, but to the group, he was suddenly the most interesting man on Facebook. The man's posts raised red flags. He deleted old photos. He changed his profile picture twice in one day. In a comment thread, he nervously joked about being questioned. The group swarmed in, capturing screenshots before anything disappeared. The more he tried to hide, the guiltier he looked. Members whispered, "What if he's reading this right now?" Fear spread through the group, but so did determination. Word got out. Local news covered the Facebook detectives, and suddenly, the police could no longer ignore them. Detectives admitted they were aware of online chatter, but warned against interference. Still, law enforcement quietly began following the group's findings. The public and police were now chasing the same suspect, but in very different ways. Then came the breakthrough. A group member spotted the suspect in a tagged photo at a music festival, wearing the same bright red sneakers. The timestamp placed him only hours before the victim's disappearance. This wasn't coincidence. It was connection. The sneakers, once background noise, became the smoking gun. Now, the Facebook detectives knew they were close. But the real question was, how far would they go? The group had grown into thousands. Teachers, mechanics, even former cops joined. Each new member brought sharper eyes, fresh theories. They weren't just chatting anymore. They were building case files. Someone created a spreadsheet tracking the suspect's movements. Another mapped his locations against the victim's last hours. It was messy, chaotic, but together, it began to look like something the police could never ignore. Scrolling through years of his posts, Sleuths noticed chilling details. He often bragged about being at the wrong place at the right time. His late-night statuses, the ways aligned with women going missing in nearby towns. Suddenly, the group wondered, was this just one murder or part of something bigger? Fear turned into obsession. The suspect began locking down his Facebook, but it was too late. Members had already archived everything. Photos, friends lists, old comments. Screenshots spread like wildfire, each one dissected for hidden meaning. A grainy selfie showed scratches on his arm. A tagged post revealed his car parked outside the victim's bar. The internet had become his worst enemy. Then it happened. The suspect himself entered the group under a fake name, but his writing style gave him away. When members accused him directly, he lashed out, claiming innocence, mocking the sleuths. That outburst only fueled suspicions. Within minutes, his real profile was plastered across the group's feed. The hunter had just walked into the trap. The pressure grew unbearable. The man deactivated his Facebook, but by then police had seen enough. Armed with digital evidence from the group, detectives obtained a warrant. One cold morning, officers surrounded his small apartment. Neighbors woke to flashing lights. The online sleuths refreshed their feeds, waiting for confirmation. And then it came. He was in custody. But this was only the beginning. The arrest wasn't cinematic. It was quiet, almost anticlimactic. The man emerged in handcuffs, hoodie pulled over his head, avoiding cameras. But online, the reaction was explosive. Facebook groups flooded with celebratory posts, screenshots of news alerts, and messages like, "We did it." Yet beneath the excitement lurked unease. Some sleuths asked, what if we were wrong? After all, they weren't trained investigators. Still, the arrest validated their months of work. The police credited community tips, but everyone knew the truth. The Facebook detectives had forced the case into the open. Once in custody, investigators searched his apartment. What they found sent shivers across both the town and the group. A laptop filled with late-night searches about police, response times, folders of photos, some innocent, others far darker. Among them, multiple shots of the victim taken days before her disappearance. It wasn't chance. It was stalking. As details leaked, sleuths combed their own archives to compare notes. They realized their screenshots had predicted nearly every step. The man's digital life had betrayed him long before the police ever knocked on his door. The courtroom became a stage. Reporters lined the benches, sketch artists captured every detail. Prosecutors leaned heavily on digital evidence, screenshots, timestamps, geotagged photos, much of it discovered first by Facebook sleuths. The defense tried to discredit the internet mob, painting them as vigilantes hungry for blood. But the evidence was undeniable. Each archived post, each deleted comment, formed a timeline too precise to ignore. The jury watched in silence as the suspect's own Facebook history painted him into a corner. Yet not everyone celebrated. Some worried this was dangerous precedent. Could online sleuths ruin innocent lives? What if the group had targeted the wrong man? Debates raged across talk shows and podcasts. Are Facebook detectives heroes or a threat to justice? Became a national question. For the original group members, the criticism cut deep. They had chased justice, not fame. Still, they wondered, had their obsession crossed a line? Or had they simply done what the police couldn't? After weeks of testimony, the courtroom fell silent. The jury filed in, faces unreadable. When the foreman spoke the words "guilty of murder," the air cracked with emotion. Some cried, others cheered. The Facebook detectives erupted online with posts of relief and victory. For the victim's family, it was closure, though nothing could undo the loss. The killer was sentenced, his red sneakers held up in court as haunting evidence. What began as grief on Soci, Media had ended in justice. But the case raised bigger questions. Had the world just witnessed the birth of a new kind of detective? Months later, the Facebook group still existed, though quieter now. Many members stayed, bonded by what they had achieved together. They had started as strangers, but ended as something more. A digital task force that had changed the course of a murder case. Other communities reached out, asking how to form similar groups. Journalists wrote about crowdsourced justice. Even law enforcement admitted, grudgingly, that online sleuths could be useful when used responsibly. But not everyone was convinced. Civil rights groups warned about vigilantism, about innocent people's lives being ruined by a wrong screenshot or a hasty accusation. The Facebook detectives themselves were left to wrestle with the consequences. Had they solved a murder, or had they opened Pandora's box for the future of justice? In the age of social media, truth leaves a digital trail. Sometimes it's the people outside the badge who find it first. This case proved that ordinary citizens, armed with nothing but determination and Wi-Fi, could uncover what might otherwise stay buried. But it also raised haunting questions. Where is the line between justice and obsession? Between community action and dangerous vigilante hunts? One thing is certain. This story isn't just about one killer. It's about us, about the power and the peril of living in a world where everyone, at any moment, can become a detective.